real entrepreneur.
Yeah.
I'm not some bullshit YouTuber. I'm not selling shit that's not true. I've done it. Fucking Billionaire is charging for a course. What the fuck's happened to us? 13 years of school had taught me to be a weak, unable to survive human being. The worst time in my life, the loneliest time, the hardest time was somehow the miracle I needed.
So you were like really homeless?
Yes, I get a lot of hate for this, but I won't believe in my son any money.
People might say you're doing this for money.
Yes.
Are you? What is your net worth?
I'm worth the taxman will definitely not like this podcast.
What's your biggest fear?
I've had people steal money from me. I've had people steal businesses from me.
And are you religious?
Religion comes up a lot in my life.
How much money is enough money for you?
Don't be dumb. Go learn that shit. Cash until I was 40 years old.
Made tons of companies. Does money make you happy now? What is up, everyone? Welcome back to another episode on The Vibe Show. Today we have a very special guest who flew in all the way from the United Kingdom, Simon Squibb.
Good to be here.
Thank you so much for coming.
I am very special. That's how I feel. Thank
Yes. Actually, I've been watching your content for a while, but I'll give a quick introduction. This is a man who makes everyone's dreams come true. You're like a genie.
Just don't rub me up the wrong way.
Yeah, you're a genius. So I want to start off by saying, guys, for those of you that don't know, Simon Squibb is a very successful businessman, but along the way of making millions and millions, he decided money is not making him happy and he wants to start giving it away.
Pretty much.
Why?
Well, I don't want to leave it for my son. I don't think it'll be healthy for him. And I'm not going to leave him anything.
Yeah.
I think I get a lot of hate for this, but I won't be leaving my son any money.
You're not going to give your son any money?
None of it. I'm going to give him my love, my knowledge. I'm going to teach him how to fish, not give him fish.
Wow.
I want him to love the joy of fishing, if that makes sense as an analogy.
That's interesting because I have a lot of rich people that come on the podcast and I always ask them that question. Are you going to spoil your kids?
Yep, I understand. And I thought about this long and hard because I grew up with no money. I left home at 15 with no money. I was homeless and it was hard, but it made me so happy today. It's like having that hard life makes you happy later. If you earn it yourself, there's something really, really powerful about it. You've learnt the tools of making money. You're free forever. If someone gives you money and you lose it, you're fucked because you don't know how to make it again.
Wow. Now, I want to say that, obviously, growing up, you were homeless at 15. Where was your parents?
Well, my father died of a heart attack right in front of me when I was 15 years old.
Oh.
And as soon as he was gone, there was no balance in my family anymore, and not long after, I had a massive argument with my mother. She didn't like my girlfriend, simple as that. And she was a lovely girl, nothing wrong with her at all. And my mum just said, get out of my house, and I never went back.
Oh, sorry to hear that. Wow, I didn't know that story. That's crazy. So, obviously, losing your father and having that fight with your mother, was there never a time you tried to fix it with her? Or?
Yeah, I've tried to fix it. I think maybe this is something people can relate to. I don't know, some might not relate to it. But I find that just because you're born into a family doesn't mean you have the same moral code or you have the same vibe. And so my wife, who is Asian, she's very much love her parents no matter what. And I totally understand it.
Yeah.
But I grew up in England and I questioned my mum's morals. I questioned the way she thinks about things. I'm not saying she's right and I'm right, or she's wrong and I'm wrong. I don't want to make it about that.
Yeah.
I just don't get on with her. She just isn't someone I want to hang out with, even though she's my mother. She's different to me.
And by the way, since 15, have you spoken with her?
Many times.
Okay.
And when I got with my wife, who's very family orientated, she's like, I want to meet your mum. I'm like, okay. And it didn't take long for my wife to also realise she's not my cup of tea, as we say in England.
Wow.
You know?
Okay, very interesting. Yeah. Now, I want to move on to, obviously, so you grew up at 15, you became homeless. How long were you homeless?
All in all, I mean, there's different types of homelessness, so just to categorise.
Yeah, like, were you at a friend's house?
There's no place to sleep homeless, in the street homeless, and there's what I call institutionally homeless. So I had no place to live for about 8 weeks. So that's the total time that I slept in the street, I slept in a stairwell, I slept in a car park.
So you were like really homeless?
Yes, but I did go stay at a few friends' houses, but I didn't want to overstay my welcome. It was a very strange time. I didn't want to say that I'd fallen out with my mum, my father. I was in a very strange place. So I'd stay for 3 or 4 days with a friend.
Yeah.
And then I'll outstay my welcome a little bit, and then I'll be like, oh, thanks for letting me stay, Mr. and Mrs. Johnson.
Yeah.
And see you John, I'll see you later, mate. Right, that kind of concept. But I never really had anywhere to stay.
Yeah.
And I experienced what it was like.
And then what happened? Obviously, you're 15. After those 8 weeks, what did you get a job?
So this is where my hatred for the education system began. Because I'd been 13 years in school at this point, right? Education system for 13 years. So I was in school from the age of 2. And now I'm 15. 13 years of education. And I couldn't survive in the real world at all. Yeah. So I don't know how to make money. I don't even know how to go into the forest and survive foraging, right? I'm reliant on buying food from a supermarket. I've got no way of surviving, right? So what did I try to do? Like everybody tries to do, I tried to get a job. But in England, like many countries, I can't get a job unless I have something called a national insurance card, which is an ID.
Okay.
Because I was 15, you don't get that till you're 16, I can't get a job anywhere. I go places to get a job and they can't give me a job because they need to register my national insurance number. So I can't get a job. That avenue's completely cut off.
Yeah.
So I do all sorts of weird things. I go to places where you pick strawberries and I'm picking strawberries all day long for like £3. It's a nightmare in the sun.
£3 an hour or?
£3 for like the box of strawberries.
And you're 15, it probably takes you a couple of hours.
And also I'm not used to manual labor. That's the other thing. Like society's made me weak. But here's the thing. I often describe this moment as like the worst time in my life, the loneliest time, the hardest time was somehow the miracle I needed.
Yeah.
Because it woke up something in my brain that every human on this planet has and they don't realize it.
Yeah.
The entrepreneurial muscle in your brain. Everybody has it. And it needs to come alive when you need to survive.
So obviously you're working these jobs. Was that enough to pay for?
No, I wasn't surviving. I was begging. I was doing anything to survive. And, that's why I hate the school system now and why I'm going to fix it. Because in that moment, I realized that 13 years of school had taught me to be a weak, unable to survive human being. Right. So at that point, when I had no choice but to survive, this is what happened. I walked past a big house, and in that big house was this massive, messy garden. And for the first time in my life, my brain woke up and it said, the people have got money, they've got a big house, they've got a messy garden. Maybe I can take care of that garden and make some money. And this part of my brain that creates everything you're sitting on now, everyone who's listening to this podcast now, it's been created by someone who had an idea in their head and they made it real.
So essentially you started your own business at 15?
I started a gardening company at 15 years old. I knocked on someone's door. I had no brochure, no website, no experience in business, no training in sales, nothing. And I said, your garden's messy. Can I take care of it for you? And I'll just charge you to do that.
And then
person said yes.
At that point, that was enough for you to go get your own house?
That was enough for me to go, oh, this is where I can make money.
Yeah.
Survival. Vikings call this burning the boat. When they land somewhere, they burn the boat. So they can't go back. I had that by accident, by natural selection.
Wow.
I had no choice but to make a business work.
Yeah.
But I also realized by going through that process that everyone has this choice. They just don't know it.
That's great. So 15, you started your own company.
Yes.
I mean, is it even a company at that point?
No, it's not even a company. People are giving me cash.
They're just giving you money.
The tax man will definitely not like this podcast. I was just literally knocking on people's doors and saying, I'll take care of your garden. And then I'd take cash and then I'd do the garden.
Yeah.
And then I realized I'm lazy. So I got someone else to help me do the garden, someone else who was homeless to help me do the garden.
So did you manage to get your own place at 15, 16?
So 8 weeks from the time I was homeless to the time business started making money, I moved into what we call HMO in England, which is like you rent a shitty room in a squat. It's basically, I moved into a squat.
Okay.
That's the only way anyone knows what a squat is. It's just a nightmare place to live, to be honest. Hundreds of people sharing the toilet, hundreds of people sharing the kitchen, and it's just mayhem in the house. But I found myself a little room in that mayhem house, and that's where I lived. And then I managed to get a deal with the local cricket club where I'd take care of the cricket club grounds, and they gave me a shed on the cricket club grounds to keep all the gardening equipment in.
Wow.
I lived in there.
That's crazy.
So my office was free, my rent was free, and I was running a company at the age of 15 from a shed in a cricket ground.
That's insane. So obviously that's a crazy childhood. Moving forward, where did you make your first real money?
Well, it's interesting because what's real money?
Like, when did you start making hundreds of thousands or millions?
I didn't start putting proper money in my bank account, like proper cash, until I was 40 years old. It's quite recently. Because every time, this is the model I've run my whole life. First of all, I want to always be learning. I always want to be building a brand, not a business. Mm-hmm. And so now I'm building something that takes investment. So every time I've made money, and I've made a lot of money, like even the gardening company made a lot of money, I just kept putting it back in. I bought more equipment. I got more people in. I grew the business.
Yeah.
And that meant the business becomes very financially successful. What a lot of people make the mistake of doing is they try to make quick money. They take the money out, right? So I kept putting money back in. The biggest company I built in Hong Kong, because I moved to Hong Kong at 23 years old.
Yeah.
I moved there and I built a company called Fluid, which became the largest creative agency in Asia, which I sold to PricewaterhouseCoopers for more money than I'll ever need.
How much is that?
Well, I'm legally not allowed to say, but I'm never going to worry about money again.
Is it over 10 million or over 100 million?
I can't even say yes or no to those questions.
Wow.
The point I'm trying to make is it's more money than I ever need.
Is it fluid.com?
No, it was through an agency model.
Okay.
Which is pretty interesting because I think people, when they hear agency, they don't understand how it's scalable.
Yeah.
But I built the first email marketing system. So in Hong Kong, for example, we had nearly 400 restaurants and bars using us to promote themselves through email marketing.
That's great. I mean, look, if it's Hong Kong, then that's a lot of money.
It was a lot of money. And, I think but I never built it to sell it.
Yeah.
I think this is another mistake people make in business. Don't build a company to sell it. Build it because you fucking love it. And then someone comes along and buys it. That's what happened to me. Someone came along to buy it. I was like, I don't really want to sell it. You can get the most amount of money when you live that way.
I think when you say no, people want to pay you more.
Well, this is it. It's true.
And I've had this a lot of times. Like even in my own career, like I made like a new channel. It's like an Arabic channel.
Yeah.
And when I made that channel, like I did not care about money. I had enough money on my other channels. So I was like, I don't want to take brand deals. I don't want to do it. So I had some company which I had worked with for a long time. They're like, we want to sponsor your Arabic channel now. And I was like, no. They're like, what do you mean? We sponsor your English one, which is the bigger one.
Yeah.
I said, no.
Those are the most powerful word in sales in general.
I ended up eventually doing a deal with them, like way more money than I should have got, but like on some crazy terms. I was like, well, I'm only doing it if I mention you for 10 seconds.
Yeah. I wish
don't want to
people knew
ruin
this,
it.
by the way. This
Yeah.
is very powerful knowledge. A lot of people, unfortunately, they sell time. They get trapped in the selling time thing and they reduce their rate. I used to work with a lot of creative people.
Yeah.
That's where my business started. The reason my agency became so big is because I was looking after the creative people.
Yeah.
And creative people are some of the loveliest people on the planet. They're doing the work because they love it, but they're not charging properly for it.
Yeah.
So they'll charge, I met someone, her name was Helen Griffiths. She was charging like, I don't know, $1,000 for a brand, $1,000 for a brand. Her work is worth $100,000.
Yeah.
But she's not that minded. She just wants to do the work.
And I feel like sometimes you can only say no if you have enough. Does that make sense? I feel like
Yeah.
some people are in like worse positions where they just have to accept things.
There's that, but I also think sometimes people don't know how to price things properly.
Yeah.
They're not taught how to price things. So if you look at like, I don't know, brands like Louis Vuitton, and I'm not a fan of these brands, but they deliberately price things. They don't price the cost of goods plus 20%. No, they price it on value. Perceived value. And people don't do that enough for themselves.
Yeah.
Their own lives. They don't sell their potential. They sell what is practical, an hour here, an hour
Now, you're mentioning obviously you hate the school system, right? You have kids.
there. Yes.
Are they going to go to school?
So I will caveat I hate the school system with I don't hate the people in the school system. I love teachers. Most of them are some of the kindest, most caring human beings on the planet. But they are restricted by the infrastructure, which basically dictates success as, if you study this and you memorize it and next week can write down what you memorized, you are clever.
Yeah.
A equals clever. That is bollocks. That is a total lie, right? That is not how the real world works. I can't memorize many things other than stuff I want to memorize that is useful to my day to day.
Yeah.
Right? I don't want to memorize every capital in the world. I've got Google. Right? That stuff was pointless then. It's even more pointless now.
Yeah.
Right? Even more a waste of time. It still happens today. So that's why 80% of A students end up working for D students. 80%.
Yeah.
Why do D students end up being more successful than A students? Because D students learn to love trying things out and failing. They get used to failing. It's kind of a superpower to accept. I'll do something, maybe it fails. Who cares?
Yeah.
That's what we're not teaching kids in school. So I hate the system that has restricted teaching, restricted knowledge getting to people that they desperately need to have a better life.
Yeah. So in terms of your kids, you think they just have to go to school, or would you have like
No,
a private?
so my son is homeschooled.
Okay.
Right, but when people hear that, they're going to have a misconception. They're going to think that my kid is sitting on his own in the living room being taught by his mother. Right? That's not modern home education.
Yeah.
That's people have got completely wrong. He socializes all day long, like a normal adult model, right? So he will have learning time, but he doesn't learn in the way that school teaches him to learn. I'll give you an example. It's going to sound a bit bizarre. My son loves roads. He loves the road system.
Okay.
He's fascinated by it. How did these roads get built? Which is interesting.
Yeah.
How did these infrastructure items get designed? Whose houses were knocked out the way to get built, these roads?
Okay.
And why are all these roads connected? And why are some roads big and some roads small? It sounds boring, right? But he was fascinated by it. And what I discovered doing that with him is he'd say, okay, in England, there's the M25. How did it get built? But like, okay, how much did it cost to build it? So we'd research how much it cost. How did they raise that money to build that road? This is how they raised the money.
Yeah.
Who politically wasn't happy, and why did those political parties have different opinions? So he's learning politics, maths, geography, all through something he loves that sounds benign. No school is teaching you about roads.
And how old is he?
6.
He's 6 years old.
Mind blowing. He's either going to be an evil genius or save the world. I don't know which one yet.
Yeah, I mean, that's crazy. I mean, which is good nowadays, I think. It's different. Now, you also mentioned one more thing, and I know we're switching topics, but when you were first working, you were taking lots of cash.
Yes.
And I guess you think in your own unique way. Nowadays, crypto is very popular. What's your thoughts on that?
So I have a strange relationship with the word crypto, because there's two things that go through my mind, and probably your listeners. One is it's a scam. It's all scammy. And the other side of it is like, I think it's the future. If I'm being honest, I think it's the future. But it's not crypto per se, it's blockchain.
Are you invested in crypto?
Yes.
Which ones?
I've got Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana. I played around with all of them. But I didn't buy them to make money, just to say. I buy them to learn the technology. And buy to learn how the ecosystems work and the communities work. Because when you go deep, you're knowledgeable. If people are thinking crypto is a scam, it's like going back to 1990s and saying the internet is a scam. On the internet, there are scammers, and some of the internet is a scam. It doesn't make the technology of the internet not an opportunity for people.
Yeah.
So don't be dumb. Go learn that shit, because that is going to change the world. That blockchain transparency stuff, everybody's property in the future will be sold on the blockchain.
Yeah.
Everybody's products,
Cars.
services, sold on the blockchain. If anyone's heard of Ethereum, that product is the competitor to Amazon in the future. People can't comprehend. If I say to you, Ethereum is the competitor to Amazon, and you don't understand it, then you haven't studied how it really works and how the world's going to change, and you're behind. And that's a shame, because it's knowledge there to be had free on the internet for you to learn that right now.
Yeah.
Don't be ignorant. That's my view on crypto. But I would caution meme coins and certain technologies, certain things within the technology.
Yeah.
Be careful. You know, recognize what is gambling. Like, I think the stock market is gambling. Personally, I think the property market is even gambling. I don't like these things. So I can't have an influence over their success. I think it's dumb to invest in things you can't influence the success of.
Yeah.
Why would you do that?
I mean, and then even crypto then, I guess.
Well, yeah, I mean, again, it depends if you're doing it to educate yourself or doing it to gamble, which I personally don't mind gambling, as long as you accept that it's gambling.
Yeah.
It's when people deny that it's a formula.
Because they think I'm a genius and I know where it's going.
I know someone that bought Tesla stock, and they were like going on about how clever they were to buy Tesla. I'm like, you're lucky Elon Musk didn't like have a heart attack from stress, or he tweeted the right things at the right time.
Yeah.
It's all Elon Musk.
Yeah.
You know, you're not a genius. He's a genius. Now, maybe you backed a genius. Now, that's a different model. I bought equity in companies because I see geniuses. I buy their equity in their business.
Yeah.
That's totally fine. But I also then influence the business by helping, by using my knowledge, my network, my skill, my brain. Why would you buy stuff that you can't use your brain on?
Yeah. It's like a gamble, but you just have more advantage because you know you're going to help the gamble.
Exactly. I think when you're young, you should invest in things that give you knowledge. And as you get older, you should invest in things that are scalable. So don't sell time, right? And I think a lot of people make the mistake when they're thinking about crypto. It's a shortcut and good for some people. Just accept, though, you put $1,000 into something, you might lose it all.
Yeah.
Fine. Don't make it your career, though.
Exactly.
Right? Invest in things that are going to give you compound knowledge to grow a proper way of building wealth.
Now, saying that, how much is your crypto portfolio?
I've never talked about this because I'm scared to promote crypto.
I mean, how much money do you have now there? Like, leave the...
Yeah, I have about $1 million US in crypto at the moment.
Wow. Okay, that's...
But just to be clear, I put $1 million US in maybe 2.5 years ago. It went down to like 200,000 and it's come back. So I'm no genius at crypto, but I fucking understood the technology, how the community works.
Yeah.
I know that's what's happening there. So at one point I lost a lot of money. I'm no crypto genius. I want to make sure that's clear.
Yeah.
I definitely pleased it came back, but I also saw it as a real life MBA.
So you lost on that. You lost $750,000
around that at one point. Yeah.
Wow, that must have. Was that stressful?
I kind of bought at the peak, and it all went back down.
Were you stressed though?
No, I only gamble with money I can lose.
Yeah.
I'm glad it's come back.
Which
Means I
makes
can
sense.
Buy a few more dinners and some new cameras for my podcast.
Actually, you know what's crazy? And I also have the same thoughts. I always tell people it's okay to get scammed if you learn from it.
Right, exactly.
And I'll tell you a funny story, actually. This is going off topic. I used to play a game. I don't know if you know a game called RuneScape.
RuneScape, yeah, vaguely.
Okay, anyways, on this game, I remember there was lots of scams going on. And I kind of figured out that, because, you know, for example, you see people making lots of money, right? And let's say it's a scam or it's dodgy in any way. I was like, this is a game, so don't do this in real life. You know, I'm just telling you guys, don't figure out how to scam. But on the game, I was like, I want to start scamming. Like, these guys are making millions. How can I do it? I figured out the best way for me to learn the scam is to just get scammed. Because then I can figure out how I got scammed. Yeah. So
I completely get your point. And I think there's another level to this, except being scammed, is many times in my business career, someone has scammed me. And you know, part of me, every time I've ever lost money with someone that stole, I've had people steal money from me, I've had people steal businesses from me, I don't mind. And because all that happens in my brain is I go, well, that was a cheap lesson. That friendship, let's say I've actually lost a friendship over someone scamming me. It's like, well, I learned their real moral code. I've just found out the real moral code. Oh, great, that's okay. Now I don't waste any more years of my life being friends with them. I actually think it's healthy. Yeah. Like, I love people say don't do business with friends. I completely disagree. If you want to find out if they're real friends, do business with them. Find out what they're really like. Yeah. Like my brother, who's now divorced, married someone who, you know, was quite money orientated. And it wasn't until they got divorced he found out how much money orientation she was. You know, like, I actually think it's really interesting. Like, I've been in a situation, I worked with my wife for 15 years, day in, day out, every day. I know she's a good person. I know there's no way I could ever do better, that's for sure. She's amazing. And I've seen her in situations where she could have said to me, Simon, let's not pay that bill and we will get away with it. Yeah. Someone didn't invoice us for a lot of money once, right? And I went to her and I said, I just realized this company didn't invoice this. This is a lot of money. And I said, what should we do? I was genuinely on the fence, like not the perfect human being. I'm like, well, they haven't invoiced us. They're a big company. They haven't invoiced us. What should we do? Yeah. She's like, tell them and we need to pay them. That's not right. I'm like, thank you for making me a better human being. Yeah. You're right. There was a part of me that was like, they didn't invoice us. They're a big company. That's their problem.
They forgot about it.
But she's the right person to, you know, like, you know what I mean? Like, she made me better. Like, that's not right. I don't want money that way. Yeah. And I think, ironically, I called up the person in the company and told them. That person, after that day, I can't tell you how much business they gave me after that.
Wow. Because I think they appreciated it.
That's right. And they're also like, wow, we forgot to invoice for that, Simon. That's so kind. And that person became one of the most productive people promoting me. Forget the company, because originally I was trying to justify the bad behavior, right? It's a big company. They don't need the money. It's fine. And I forgot there's a human being behind that business that at some point probably would have got into trouble. Right? Yeah. But just, you know, the moral code thing, I like business, people, personal money. I think business is personal. Yeah. People to make a mistake saying it's not personal. It is.
Now I have a question. Obviously, you've made tons of money. You've made tons of companies. Does money make you happy now?
It's the cliche line, money makes life easier. And so, but money brings its own complication. And it's very easy for me to sit here now saying money doesn't make you happy. I am happy today in part because I've got money. But I'm even happier today in part because I have purpose. Yeah. I have a reason to exist, a reason to get up every day and work hard regardless of money. And everyone can do this. They just don't realize it. Yeah. Purpose is what makes me more happy. Having the ability to help people every day, all I do is I share people's dream on my platform. Those people's dreams, the community helps make those dreams happen. I just put it up on that platform. Yeah. It feels important in a world where people don't have many choices, where people don't feel like they've got much hope. Yeah. Right. And that fills me with more happiness than my bank balance.
Wow. Amazing. So obviously this is a question you ask everyone, but I want to ask you, what is your dream?
I'm living my dream. I'm living it. Yeah. My dream is to help people realize that they're fucking amazing. Yeah. And that they're capable of anything, despite the programming in school, despite the lack of opportunity maybe where they grew up. Human beings are incredible. You can do anything. Yeah. And I want people to realize it. And I want to fix the education system so that system gives people choices. Yeah. And I'm doing it. And I couldn't be happier.
Okay, interesting. So obviously, I mean, it is still, my podcast is still kind of financial. Right. And I know it's not about money, but what is your net worth?
So net worth's an interesting one, isn't it? Yeah. According to the Sun newspaper last week, who did a story on me, I'm worth 501 million pounds. Wow. I'm here to tell you that is total bullshit.
500 million pounds.
Yeah, but that is total bullshit. Right. I think net worth, it depends on how you calculate these things. I've got equity in companies that, you know, if you took the equity, the value could be high. But frankly, those businesses could all collapse tomorrow. Elon Musk's the same. Elon Musk's net worth being number one or number two, this bullshit that goes on all the time, is all to do with his stock price value.
Yeah.
So I have deliberately, personally kept myself quite liquid. So I only think about my net worth in my liquidity.
Okay.
Like what I've got available to spend.
How much cash you have.
Yeah, exactly. And I don't have a mortgage or I don't have any debt. So my home, these sorts of things, I don't believe in debt.
Yeah.
And that's not Western culture, by the way. I mean, everybody's talking about. When I first made a lot of money, I got advice from a financial advisor. And his first thing was like how to leverage everything.
How to take loans.
Exactly, how to get debt. And he kept saying good debt to me all the time. I'm like, I don't like debt. And so I could leverage myself up and probably start to posture myself as a billionaire. I just don't believe in any of that shit.
Oh.
So everything I've got, I own. I buy things cash not because I'm a drug dealer, but because I like to just only buy what I can afford. And when I first made a lot of money, I did buy a big fancy house and I did buy a big fancy car. I got rid of these things because they own me after a while. For me, it's my style.
Yeah.
Everyone's different, but I don't. I've got a kid I want to look after. I've got a business I want to build. If I want something nice, I rent it.
Wow. I mean, it works.
Yeah, and then I don't have to maintain it.
Okay. So I guess the real question is, we still didn't answer my question.
No.
How much?
I'd find it hard to give you an exact number.
Okay. How much cash do you have? Give me, okay, obviously I don't want to say that because that's a bit too personal. Like, what would you estimate?
I don't have access to the cash, so no one can kidnap me and get it. I don't have access to the
Yeah.
cash. But I mean, it's like on 6-month lockdowns and those sorts of things. Right?
6-month lockdowns?
Yeah, you put things on long-term deposit, right?
Okay, so you get interest.
You can't just take it out.
Okay.
Because I'm always scared about talking about net worth. I don't want my son getting kidnapped. I'm like, give us all your money or we're going to take him out.
Yeah.
You can't get access to the money. I deliberately leave my access money very low.
Okay.
Literally,
theoretically,
if you came and kidnapped me, you wouldn't get much out of me.
If you had to put a net worth on yourself.
I've never done it. I just don't think in those terms. Like my platform, HelpBnk, I mean, it's hard to value it.
Yeah. Okay, would you say it's over 100 million?
Yes.
That's a nice number.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I really think this net worth thing has got people a bit confused.
Yeah.
I don't think net worth really matters.
Yeah.
I think it's what you do that matters.
I think so. I saw Jeff Bezos say this. He was like, for me, it doesn't matter what my stock prices are today.
No.
I'm focused on what I'm building for the future.
Totally.
So in one core, if his stocks are down 70%, he says, I know what we're building is the future. It doesn't matter right now what people evaluate me at.
I have this right now because I'm building a competitor to LinkedIn, right?
Okay.
HelpBnk.com is a competitor to LinkedIn, but you go on that platform and you help people.
Yeah.
That platform, in my opinion, is $1 billion company at least.
Yeah.
But it's only what I think it's worth. It doesn't mean it's worth it. And it's only worth something when someone buys it.
Exactly.
It really doesn't matter because the most important thing is what it does, not what it's worth in my mind.
Yeah. Now, obviously, moving on, you're someone that learns through mistakes as well. What has been your biggest financial loss?
Biggest financial loss?
Except the crypto.
So, I mean, I think about things like I did a comic book business.
Wow.
Where I lost I'm always converting to Hong Kong dollars. I lost £1 million in one business. And at the time, that is a lot of money. And that was a serious amount of money for me at the time as well.
Yeah.
But I still have the comic. It's called Devashard. I love it. I still love it. It was basically, the principle was, what if Superman or Batman landed in India or was born in China? What would Superman look like if it was from China? It's interesting, you ask people in the West, they're like, communism. Oh, Superman's very evil. Why would he be suddenly evil? Because he landed in China instead of America. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
So I really love to explore the cultural misunderstandings that people have. I've lived in every part of the world at some point at this point. And I think people really misunderstand other people's cultures.
Yeah.
So I love the idea of the comic book from a cultural education point of view. Mm-hmm. But it failed. And I lost a lot of money.
$1 million. How many comics were you printing?
Well, it was a combination of like actually making it. We were trying to make DC Marvel quality and turn it into a movie.
Yeah.
So we wanted to do a movie about it.
Yeah.
So I put a lot of money in infrastructure. So in Hong Kong alone, the office infrastructure was probably a couple of £100,000, just the office structure.
So that's your biggest venture loss.
Biggest venture loss, one venture loss. Yeah, I think so. It depends on how you, if you look at valuations up and down in businesses, there's always like non-real cash.
Yeah.
You know, like valuation loss. I probably lost more in valuation loss in businesses.
Okay.
But in cash terms, in one go, I lost £1 million on that one business.
Wow, crazy.
1.2 million US for people that don't understand what pounds are.
It's almost the same, right?
Yeah.
Okay, now, honestly speaking, this is where I'm going to get a bit like, I'm going to go to the bad side, you know? A lot of people might say you're doing this for money.
Yes.
Are you?
Am I doing it for money?
Because you see Shark Tank, they're not trying to help people. They're just trying to make more money.
Well, I don't like Shark Tank and I don't like Dragon's Den. I don't like these platforms. Because I think they actually teach people the wrong thing. Like, I've invested in 78 companies. And I'm telling you right now, every time someone lets me invest in their company, I feel lucky and honored. It's got nothing to do with being a shark or a dragon, having all the money. That's bullshit.
Yeah.
But it is a partnership when you get involved in someone's business. And honestly, money has no value. Yeah. If I give someone some money and they go and make it valuable, that's different. So I feel like that's all the wrong way around.
Yeah.
So I'm not doing it to make money. At this point in my life, that's not my motivation. But I do believe in making money. And I believe that I love the kind of Elon Musk model where you make businesses that do good make money.
Yeah.
Right. Tesla isn't a car company. Tesla's trying to solve the human resources problem. SpaceX isn't a space company. He's trying to save the human race by making sure we go on a second planet before a rock hits this one and we all die.
Yeah.
Right. In the meantime, make money to fund that survival of the human race.
Yeah.
I'm doing exactly the same.
Yeah, and I think there's nothing
I'm a
wrong
mini Elon Musk in my mind. Like, apart from the fact that I know I really care about my marriage and stuff like that. I'm not going to let any of those things slip. My personal life and my health are vital to me.
Yeah.
But I do think it's important to build something with purpose that's nothing to do with money. Here's the irony. Every time you build something with purpose, my experience, it makes more money than something that has no purpose.
100%.
It's just about making money.
So look, in a dream world, you know, how big are you dreaming? What do you want to happen? Your company is going to be, let's say, the next LinkedIn. What's next?
Yeah, if that's stage one, become the next LinkedIn.
What's next?
I think after that, it's literally like giving people a second option when it comes to education.
Okay.
You can go through the existing education system that exists in every country in the same format and have a memorization A, B grade and then get a job.
Yeah.
Or you have a second option, which is learn how money works, learn how business works, learn to build a company, learn to figure out what your purpose is, figure out that purpose and make your dream happen.
Yeah.
That to me is the legacy I'd like to leave before I leave this planet. It's like I'd like on Elon Musk's rocket ship. I would like to make sure that people have a second option. They don't have to go to university, for example, which is most young people, they feel they've got no choice.
Yeah.
Different countries have different problems with debt when they get into university, but like people feel like they've got no choice.
Yeah.
They've got to go to university to even get a basic job now, right? And I don't want people to feel that way. I want people to realize you've got a million options. And one of them is start your own business. I want people to at least have informed consent.
Yeah.
So that's the end goal. If I fix the education system before I die, I'll be pretty happy.
Would you ever make your own school?
I think it's a bit small to think about it as a school because that's following the old model.
So you want like an entire system?
I want, do you know what it really is? It's like, it's very primal. If you look at history, it will always tell you the future. If you actually look at how humans are built, right now, in the last 100 years, we've been told this concept what we call give and take, right? I'll help you, but you have to help me. We've almost accepted it. It's like, sure, okay, that's fair, give and take. It's totally not how we're built. So how it used to work is we'd live in tribes of 5,000, roughly, and I would help you because if I did, my tribe's happier. You'd come to me because I had the knowledge. I'd give it to you. I help you. Now, you have the ability, time, and ability to go help someone else. You're not even the right person to help me anyway, right? So I help you for free, then you go help someone else for free. That person now has the ability to help someone else for free. Now,
pay it forward.
2 years from now, I've got a mental health issue. I need help. Someone who does that can come and help me for free.
Yeah.
That's how it used to be. That's how we have to go back. We have to go away from give and take to give without take. Because that's how we're naturally built. This consumer system has fucked us all up.
Yeah.
Right? And I tell you another reason this has happened is partly because of the tax system, right? You're lucky in Dubai, you don't have this problem, but it does exist in most parts of the world where if I help you and then you help me, there's a taxable transaction.
Yeah.
If I help you for nothing, there's no taxable transaction.
Yeah.
That's not good for the system, right? But that's how we're naturally built.
Yeah.
And that's where I think we need to go. I think, and people listening to this might be like, I can't afford to help people for free. I need to earn money. Totally understand.
You don't need to actually, it doesn't need to be money.
Exactly. So I say to people, like, I've started this movement called Take 5, and then it's a trademark, so I can't do that. Take 4, right? Take 4 minutes a day to help someone in any way you can.
Yeah.
and your life will be better for it. So it could be just like retweet this podcast. It won't cost anybody anything to do that. Or make a comment on this podcast, or like, or share, subscribe. It doesn't matter. It doesn't cost anybody anything to do those nice things for a small business, or that nice thing to help someone's business.
Yeah.
Do that.
Exactly.
And if you do that for someone else, then someone else will do that for you later. The giving back you get when you give without expectation is mind-blowing to me. I've done this for 5 years now, right? I've never charged anyone for help in the last 5 years. Someone offered me £10,000 for 1 hour to help them, and I come from nothing, so £10,000 still matters to me. That's a lot of money. I said no, and I helped them for free.
Wow. Damn, that's crazy. Now, obviously, growing up or just in your life, who was the most influential person for you? Was there anyone that did help you?
Interestingly enough, first of all, I think there's a real gap in role models today, in today's society, because I ask young people this question a lot, and there's not many people you feel inspired by anymore.
Yeah.
Unless it's money, which is not a very good inspiration.
Yeah.
But I think when I was younger, I had the opposite to inspiration, if there is a terminology for it. I saw people I didn't want to be.
Okay.
I saw people in my life who were drunk all the time, so I don't drink alcohol. I saw people that were chasing money all the time. I don't want to be chasing money all the time. I think I'm richer because I didn't chase money.
Yeah.
Right? And I think I saw the anti kind of mentor model. I saw what I didn't want to be. And I learned not to be like that.
And who was that, let's say?
I kind of don't want to insult people, but a lot of people in my family, frankly.
Okay.
People that I saw, my mum, for example, people in my family who drank too much alcohol.
Okay.
I don't want to insult anyone in particular, but just people that I thought, actually, I don't want to be that way. I don't want to chase money. I don't want it to be the most important thing.
Yeah.
And I don't like what's happened to my uncle who's drinking alcohol. God, he's changed. He's become violent.
Yeah.
I don't want to be that person. So I've learned from what I've seen I didn't like, and when I got into the real world and I saw people who were homeless and hang out with people that were homeless, it's like a lot of the problems have come from addiction, but are often linked to like their role models that were a negative effect on them.
Yeah.
There's that old story, right? Like there's twins born to a father who's a drunk. Okay. And one of the twins grows up to be super successful and like really happy.
Yeah.
And the other grows up to be a drunk. And the really successful one was interviewed, and they had to interview the other twin. And the question was, why do you think you're super successful? Mm-hmm. And then the drunk, he was like, why do you think you're a drunk? And they both had the same answer, my father.
Wow. And one of them just perceived it in
exactly how you take, the same as luck. Luck is just a perception. Bad luck and good luck are both luck.
Yeah.
So how do you take luck? That's why I say that the worst luck in my life has actually turned out in some weird, crazy way to be good luck.
Yeah.
And some of the best luck I've had, like when I made a lot of money, when I had a lot of money in the bank account, I actually had a bit of a difficult time because I kind of lost myself for a bit. Like I had too many choices.
Yeah.
Right? I didn't have to get up every day and go to work anymore.
And I think that's something a lot of people don't realize.
They don't realize it. No. So because good luck can also be bad luck.
You see a lot of like celebrities, net worths of $500 million, and they're famous and they have everything, and they commit suicide.
Yep. It's why I learned this from Steve Jobs. I think everybody out there who could teach you something also has something you want to not learn from them, right? Steve Jobs isn't my hero. I don't think the way he treated his daughter, for example, and certain things in his life is something I want to model on. But some things he said about business are genius.
Yeah.
And one of the things he said once, when he first IPO'd Apple, he made $50 million dropped into his bank account. He pretended it didn't exist. I actually copied this.
Wow.
I don't look at my bank balance. I don't think about the money I've got because I think it stops you fighting. It stops you achieving in some respects. Now, for people that don't have money, I totally understand how that might not sound relatable.
Yeah, exactly.
But if you translate it back into your own life and say, actually, I think if you've got no money today, you've got nothing to lose. You've got a competitive advantage against middle class, someone who's got something and has got something to lose.
Yeah.
You've actually got an advantage if you've got nothing.
I think, that's something people don't realize because they think money is everything, but actually the hungrier you are sometimes it helps,
Totally.
Because also you might even understand, some corporate people might not even understand they're just overpaying everyone because that's normal to them, but you might understand how to get hustlers for cheaper because you've been hustling, Well,
you align everyone's goals as well. I mean, I think sometimes people are, they're completely right. I think a lot of people don't understand how having nothing is a competitive advantage. But again, for myself, I don't think I'd be where I am today if I hadn't started with nothing.
Yeah.
If I had a middle class life that I was probably destined to have, I'd have a middle class life.
Is there any regrets you have from your childhood?
Any regrets from my childhood?
Is there something you wish would have gone a bit different?
I mean, I feel bad always being negative about my mother. and I feel guilty about it.
Yeah.
But she did cause a lot of conflict between me and my brothers.
Yeah.
And I kind of wish that didn't exist, because I have an estranged relationship with my brothers as well. And I find that a sad reality. And I think, if I look back, if I could go back to like the 6-year-old, 7-year-old me, I'd probably be an adult and say, hey, look, brothers, let's just all get along. And my mum was very divisive. She's like, whose room was the tidiest is the best, and they get something. The other 3, you're useless. So we'd all compete against each other.
Yeah.
Instead of what she should have done, in my opinion, is say, why don't you all help each other tidy up each other's rooms?
Yeah.
Like collaboration.
Of course,
right?
yeah.
So it's parenting style, and everyone will have a different opinion on parenting style, but I think conflict is just not something to encourage.
Yeah.
I like collaboration. Even in my content, a lot of people try to make it conflict. You're against the education system. No, I want to fix it.
Yeah.
Like everyone's trying to create red versus blue. Everyone's trying to create conflict. I want to create a world where we're just a bit nicer to each other.
Yeah.
Like we just work together a bit more. If I help you, and I can, I will.
Yeah.
Like why can't we live that way a bit more? Like why does everything become conflict? I want to be richer than you. You want to be richer than me. Why?
And I think maybe it's like also an upbringing thing, And like sometimes I genuinely believe like no one's born bad,
I completely agree.
And obviously,
no one's born anything.
I think
it's
we're
all
just
neutral when we're born.
Yeah, so I think when people see it, you're just a bad person. I think everyone was born and then things happened.
Totally.
It's kind of like superheroes. Like one of them turns into the villain.
Totally.
And they have very similar stories, but just
back to why I need to fix the education system, because it needs to be tailored to the personality and the person.
Yeah.
So that's the thing. Like my 6-year-old, he's so loving and so sweet. There's definitely an element of natural personality there, but I've cultivated it with him, right? I hug him, I kiss him, I'm affectionate with him, and therefore he's affectionate as a person.
I have a personal question. Are you religious?
So religion comes up a lot in my life. The short answer is not yet.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I'm open to it.
Are you like Christian by birth?
No,
or is there
I was Christian by birth, and as a kid we went to church. I'm just kind of like, my take on religion now is, do I believe in God? Is kind of more framed question. Do I believe in God? Not yet.
Really?
But do I believe, and the reason is, I think even religion has become a form of division. So it's my religion versus your religion. It's my beliefs versus your beliefs. And I'm just a bit tired of that narrative.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I'm a human, you're a human. What can I do to help? Let's support each other.
Yeah.
I don't really care about my wife. I didn't even realize she was Chinese.
Yeah.
I didn't look at her and go, you're Chinese. Oh, that means you're part of the Communist Party, is it? That's the perception that some people had of my wife. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, because she's Chinese. And I think, religion to me is just like politics. It's like, I can't wait to meet God if he's real. That's going to be awesome. I've got some questions though.
Yeah.
I'd like to know, why some things have happened the way they've happened. But okay, I'm excited about that.
Yeah.
But equally, I'm not going to buy into a narrative of like that list of commands is better than this list of commands.
Yeah.
Like there's some bits on every religion I quite like. Like I love in certain religions like no debt. I love that. Like that should be true. That's more like a life guide.
Yeah.
But there are other parts of religion when it's distorted that make people fight each other.
I mean, my thing is like, let's say I'm Muslim by birth, so I'm Muslim. I do believe in God just because, I don't know, I feel like there's just been things in my life that have happened. Like, when you say just like good things have happened to me at the right time. And those have just been times where I'm just like through my lowest and I'm like, okay, there is someone,
Yeah.
But also I do agree. I don't like conflict. So I'm not someone I always tell people, if you're a good Muslim, that's amazing. If you're a good Christian, that's amazing. Mm-hmm. Because you're just,
I'm just trying to be a good person.
Yeah, because
I don't need to be a good Christian or a good Muslim. I just want to be a good person.
Yeah, and in my opinion, a lot of the religions, they just teach good things anyway. So if you're following what you're following...
Some teach good things. There are elements of religion that are not good.
Yeah.
Like I've been to the Vatican in Rome. Have you been there?
No.
Go there. And you listen carefully to the history of Christianity. And I question anybody who's Christian to like listen to that history and see how that religion was used to abuse people, to kill people, to torture people.
Yeah.
Like, I don't care what religion it is. If it's used by the wrong... It's like the internet.
Yeah.
In the hands of the wrong person, it's bad.
I think
in the hands of good people, it's
I think good things fall into the wrongs of wrong people sometimes.
Yeah, sometimes bad people learn to use these things better than the people that are good.
And that's actually something I say about crypto. I think crypto...
Yes.
I think Bitcoin...
Good people should get into it.
I think Bitcoin was made with a great idea. But I think like a lot of good things, I think when the people that influence the world, that have the money, figure them out, they try to take over.
Couldn't agree more. okay, if this was a clip, this is what I'd want people to know, right? Like, I'd be like, do not be stupid and think that crypto's bad, right? Whoever operates the system can be bad or good. It's up to you, just like the internet, there's good and bad. People need to understand that more good people need to get into something to make it good. If only the bad people stay in the good thing, it will become bad.
Yeah.
Right? It's a bit like leaders in countries. You know, it's the same model. You know, you basically need to have good people running countries. And it then doesn't matter whether it's communism or, it doesn't really matter. If the good people are running the country, good things will happen. It doesn't matter the model.
Yeah.
I think that's the same with crypto, the same with the internet. Like, wake up, people, because that's the truth.
Yeah.
You want good people in these positions of power. Because
Exactly.
then it will turn out all right. No matter what the tool, like AI, I'm only worried about the wrong person having control of AI. I'm not really worried about AI itself, per se. I'm worried about the wrong person having control over AI.
Yeah, but I guess that's the fear, right? And I think even my thoughts on AI, like, I think it's inevitable. We can't stop it.
It's definitely happening.
There's no way me or you can stop.
So regulate it and try to put it in the hands of morally correct structures.
Yeah.
Right? Have rules.
Which is, I think, hard.
Well, I think it's just, life is hard. I think we have to be, conscious owners of this new technology. Otherwise, we're going to get fucked by someone that will not be conscious.
Yeah. Okay, a few more questions I have. What's your biggest fear?
I have a few fears. One is, I guess, I disappoint my son somehow. Being big on social media, it comes with this really weird, like, people are going at you all the time, anonymous people. And I wouldn't want him to think those things are true about me, that people might say. And I guess that's one fear. I wouldn't want my son to not know who I really am. Like, I think the other fear I probably have is like anybody, I don't want to get sick. I don't want to die too young. Yeah. I want to be around to see my son get married. I want to be around to see this dream of fixing the education system happen. So sometimes I'm fearful of dying, like I was sick a few days ago. I was like, okay, I'm better now. Thank God I'm strong, but it's, I don't want to die young. Mm-hmm. Maybe because my father died young, sometimes plays in my mind. He died, not far from my age.
Were you close to your dad?
Well, I was 15 when he died. It's a very strange relationship when you're that age, because that's the age I'm getting into girls and like having a good time. Yeah. So that's the rebellious years, 14, 15. Yeah. I think previous, I used to go with my dad to all these business meetings, and I'd spend a lot of time with my dad. So I would say yes, I am. But in those like 14, 15, I was more interested in girls and going out and seeing my friends. And then spending time with my dad, which now, if I'd known he was going to die, I probably would have spent that time with him.
And sorry to ask, how did he die? Was it a
heart attack?
Oh, heart attack. Okay. So it's quite like a
sudden
thing.
Right in front of me, horrific.
Oh, sorry to hear that.
Yeah, it was a hard time.
Now, obviously, if you had 24 hours left to live, what would you do?
I'd get straight on the phone now to my son, tell him how much I love him. Yeah. I'd thank my wife for the most amazing life I've ever had. And then I'd probably jump in a car with you and go set up a doorbell somewhere. And make sure there's one more way that people's dreams can happen. Yeah. And then hopefully if we can get that done in an hour or two, probably jump back on a plane, have a really good meal, go back and see my family, give them a big hug, and then lay down with a smile.
Wow. What would your last words be before death?
Is the doorbell still working? Probably.
Wow. That's a crazy one. Now, obviously, okay, final question I just want to ask, because you have this crazy dream of, I think to a sense it was because of how you were brought up, right? It's because I think you're trying to fix a problem that I guess affected you so much.
Yep.
Let's imagine you have infinite supplies. How do you fix the education system? What would you do? Because I think sometimes people criticize things until like, okay, you do it now.
Yeah. Well, I think the first thing is I'd create a centralized system. I'd probably make all this knowledge that these courses and stuff that are charged for, some of them are valuable. I'd make a way, and I'm doing this is kind of my model. I am fixing the education systems. This is what I'm actually doing, right? Yeah. I'd build a place where people can get knowledge for free. So it's not just Google, I ask a question, but like expertise. So if I want to know how to build a social media channel, I get a place where for 20 minutes, you can go on my platform now and you could help someone in the morning. You've only got 20 minutes. You're a very busy person, but you can go and help someone learn that knowledge for free. Yeah. I'd build a system where people can get the knowledge for free.
But let's say a lot of people, assuming I'm just a normal person, I'd say, I don't want to help anyone. I'm busy.
Yeah, and that's fine. But I've discovered that people do want to help, but people need it to be convenient to them. See, what's happened with help is, let's say I need help. Yeah. People go in the DMs and I need help me. And then I have to figure out what help they actually need, what is their actual question,
Yeah.
Am I actually the right person to help them? And then schedule a meeting. It's too much work.
Yeah.
Any person that's actually good and could help. So you've got to make help convenient for the person who's helping. And that's the nut I think I've cracked with my platform. That's why we've got hundreds of thousands of people signed up. We've made it convenient for you, and I guarantee you find me one person who doesn't want to help someone for 20 minutes a day if they can. They can make a difference in someone's life. They will. Now, there's always going to be the outliners, but I've seen it in my social media. You go into the comments on my social media, you'll see good humans. How can I help? What can I do?
I don't think those are the people that people want help from.
Sometimes they are, because sometimes all you need is someone to be your customer.
Yeah.
All you need sometimes is someone to retweet your tweet. You know, like.
But I don't think.
But knowledge. You're talking about knowledge.
I
now,
think and by the way, I'd love for this to happen, but I think you're just seeing too much good in the world. I don't think. Let's say, for example, how many followers do you have?
5 million.
Do you get 5 million retweets? Or let's say on Twitter.
I've never, actually Twitter is not a platform I'm using that as an
or
example.
Or let's say, do you get 5 million people liking? You don't.
No.
You don't even get.
I had a video yesterday.
Of course,
42
occasionally.
million views, one TikTok.
Yeah, I'm saying occasionally, but those are not your followers.
Hundreds of thousands of people in the comments.
Yeah.
You see, it doesn't necessarily require everyone to be good.
Yeah.
It only requires, if the 5 million people that follow me, let's just say, 5 million people that follow me, all took 4 minutes to help one person today, and then those people helped 5 million people, and those people helped 5 million people, by the end of next week, we'd do more than any politician or any government has ever done ever for humanity.
Yeah.
You said how to fix education? That's basically it. Yeah. Education isn't just about I'll teach you something. Education is about community. It's about support. It's about encouragement.
But I also here's what something. Sorry, I don't think you should give everyone access to help. You don't want bad people teaching people. You know. I think it's a bigger problem than that. Like, but let's say if I want help on social media and I ask someone that has no idea, some people just pretend they know. Like, you know, and
it's the old analogy. Everyone's got an arsehole, right?
What's that?
Everyone's got an arsehole and everyone's got an opinion. Same sort of thing, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so now we're talking about something different though, because you first.
No, but I feel like it's like, I think the problem is like, and that's it. And by the way, like me again, I also like, I didn't finish university, but I do think school is important, not for the actual what they teach, more just like kids going there, they'll figure out something to learn, and in that sense, does that make sense? Like, I genuinely think just them going and being with other kids and just people, it's just a place, like, leave what they teach. I think it's just.
I know exactly what you're talking about, but can I reframe it a bit?
Yeah.
Right. Because what you're talking about is like what I'm translating what you're saying, maybe I misunderstand it, but you're saying not everyone should be helping people. Some people don't have the knowledge to help someone. That's what you're saying, right? So, of course, it means you need to qualify the knowledge. So, for example, I always say to people, only get advice from people whose life you want. Because if you take advice from someone who has a life you don't want, you're likely to end up with their life. So make sure you're taking advice from, like when I look at someone like Elon Musk, I would say, you know, take advice from him if you want his lifestyle. You know?
Yeah, but a lot of people don't want that.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So make sure you take advice and be very careful with, like I would say to people, for me actually, business advice, I'm one of the best in the world. Financial advice, I'm not the best in the world.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not giving people financial advice. I never give financial advice.
Yeah.
I've made a lot of money. That doesn't mean I'm financially savvy, right? I'm business savvy. If you want my life, I'm happily married. I enjoy being home. You know, like I'm not going out all the time partying. You want my life? Follow my advice on my personal life. That's fine. I'll tell you how to make a marriage work for 23 years if you want.
Wow.
I know what I've done.
You're married for 23 years.
23 years, happily married. And, you know, I think I have knowledge because of that, about how to make a marriage work.
Yeah.
So I think you got to pick and choose who you take the knowledge from. But that's different to like fixing the education system, which to me is the education system. If you think about it, like a teacher is giving someone advice, and are they having a great life?
Have you ever thought about like, and I know obviously, I think I saw even on a YouTube channel, like you had like a little course, like a 2-hour course on how to, would you ever think about doing like a paid one? Maybe it doesn't have to be.
As long as I live, and I've hopefully got another 50 years, I will never charge anybody for help, ever.
But
it's
also
dumb, it's dumb money to do a course.
Really?
It's dumb, short money.
But what if, and obviously, I agree, if you can do it for free, do it for free. But what if you could just make like a platform where, like you said, you want to have...
Plenty of people are doing that already. Nothing revolutionary.
But I mean, that's what you're trying to solve. So that they're kind of solving that.
You see, I think there's so many platforms out there right now that charge, but I think they're missing the point.
But I think some are good.
Some are good, but you know, think how many humans you've left behind on the battlefield because you didn't give them access to your £37 course.
But if
some people can't afford even £37. I know people can't afford the internet.
Yeah.
You know, you're leaving millions of people behind. Like you're leaving millions of people without knowledge you have.
Yeah.
That can make humanity better, and you don't give it to them.
Yeah.
Because I think everybody should be rich. It's totally possible. I moved to China in 1997. I watched 400 million people go from poverty to middle class. It's been a good thing. The rest of the world could be the same way.
Yeah.
And it's all to do with knowledge. And when you put it behind a payment gateway, Richard Branson has a course on business, you have to pay for it. A fucking billionaire is charging for a course. What the fuck's happened to us?
Yeah.
Right? Everyone's got this stupid mentality of like charge for it. Fucking help people if you've got the money.
Yeah.
Now, if you've got the money, help people. That's for sure. Now, if you're starting out in business and you need to charge to make some money, I'm totally fine with that.
Yeah.
And there are some courses that have value. There's a lot of shit courses as well that have no value.
Yeah.
I'm saying most people have not run the experiment that I've run. Right? I've run the experiment for 5 years. Helping people for free has value, huge value. Right?
Okay.
And I've ran a course. It was no little video. That's 30 years of business knowledge. I put in a 2 hour and 26 minute. I spent thousands and thousands and thousands on that video to make it perfect and give people the knowledge for free. That video has been watched. There's an 80% retention rate.
It's crazy.
and not only that, you look at the comments. I've changed people's lives.
Yeah.
Yes, I could have made 50 quid out of everybody in those comments. Yes, 2.4 million people could have all paid me 50 quid. I could have put it up on a platform and earned millions of pounds. Sure, who doesn't want millions of pounds? Of course, I'll take millions of pounds. But I wouldn't have helped humanity if I'd done that.
Yeah.
In the way that I have helped humanity in that stupid little video. You know, like, and I'm going to do more of that. And I'm encouraging more people to do that. And while I've been in Dubai, I've been meeting people that do courses that have value and saying, fucking rich enough, put it out for free.
Yeah.
Stop fucking around. Make a difference in this world.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with you. But, you know, getting back to the point where, like, sometimes, like, if you were to, let's say, and I'm not saying charge because you want the money. If you could take that money and just use it to expand it, obviously, look, because...
Yeah, by the way, I'm a for-profit business. Let's just be clear.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I make money.
Yeah, exactly. So that's what I'm saying. So as in, not to say, of course, you can do it free, but let's say, for example, if you
but I have an infrastructure. My team of 11 people that work on the platform all have to be paid.
Of course.
I've got a whole infrastructure.
Yeah.
Editing videos is not free.
Yeah.
Right? It costs money. All of it costs money. So I think this is another thing. This is a business 101 lesson I tell people. People think there's only two models. Charity, right, which is flawed, by the way. Charity business models are flawed because people can't invest in them, for example, because there's no way of extracting money. And of course, people can't be paid well, generally speaking.
It's like
there's
wrong.
all controversy around it.
Yeah.
And then there's the for-profit business, right? I think there's a middle ground. I call it the zero model. Basically, where you build a business that makes a shitload of money that does good with that money. Mm-hmm. So I'm launching a book. It's called What is Your Dream? All the proceeds from that book I will use to fund people's dreams and use to build infrastructure to help people for free.
Yeah.
Now, in a way, I wanted to call the book Robin Hood, but it's trademarked. Because I kind of like the idea, like, if you can afford the 20 quid book, please buy it and help. Yeah. Then I can use that money to fund people that can't afford a 20 quid book. That book is for the people that can't afford the 20 quid book. I've got no choice but to sell it as a book because one, there's printing costs. Two, there's distribution costs. The bookshops need to pay rent, need to pay electricity, they need to distribute it, right? Penguin, my publisher, they need to be paid. There's 40 people behind my book, right? They all need to be paid, right? So there are things that need to be charged for. Yeah. And I think what I'm saying is though, 20 quid for a book, for those that can afford it, they'll get value from it. For those that can't afford it, I'll take that money and I'll give it to them and help them make their lives better.
I mean, I still think maybe a course in the future, as not maybe necessarily.
I will never sell a course on my platform ever. It's like a red line for me.
Really?
Because I think it's
maybe not yours.
Nothing to do with how much
what if
money
you could get like a great teacher, you know, like obviously look, I'm trying to like, because obviously I think the problem you're trying to fix.
Education is free. How can I compete with education if I charge?
What if you use that money to get the better teachers? And obviously over time, you know,
is free.
But then how do you make money?
There's so many ways to make money. First of all, just personally speaking, this is what I have against people that sell courses that say they're entrepreneurs. If I want to make money, I start a fucking company, right?
Yeah.
I don't need to charge some poor soul that hasn't got any money 50 quid for my course. That's not a business. Mm-hmm. I can give them that knowledge free because I want to start a business. I'll go and start a business. I'm a real entrepreneur.
Yeah.
I'm not some bullshit YouTuber, right? I mean, I'm not selling shit that's not true.
Okay.
Well, I've done it. So I can help them for free. And I think that anyone selling a course that isn't actually like making money for real in the real world, they're only making money from the course, fucking forget it.
What if they're doing both?
Well, it started, I can see a few people doing it, and I won't name names. There's a few people that are actually doing good courses that have value, right? Yeah. And they're YouTubers, by the way. But I think that...
I know who you're talking about.
Yeah, and they bring value.
But that's what I'm saying, you know?
But they bring value. But what I'm saying is, I think that there are cases where people are selling courses.
Yeah, I think
that
there's
have
a
value.
lot of fake gurus nowadays.
There's a lot of fake gurus, and I think, especially in the business space,
Yeah.
you know, like the drop shipping one's the best one. You know, like, I'll make you rich in drop shipping, buy my course. Well, you know, you're doing drop shipping already, aren't you already rich? What do you need to sell?
I think people have realized they can make 10 times more money.
Well, maybe. Well, then don't sell it as the holy grail to making a shitload of money. Same as property people. It really annoys me because it's like, oh, I make so much money in property. I've got hundreds of thousands of properties. I've got a property course. You want that? Yeah. Okay, here's a property course. Well, you've been making so much fucking money in property. Can't you save humanity and help other people do it for free? What's the fucking problem? You know, like, how much money is enough?
And that's actually a question I had written down. How much money is enough money for you?
I don't need a boat. I've got a friend who owns a boat. I go on that quite a bit. It's fine. You know, like, I don't need this shit. I don't need shit.
Yeah.
I think for me, I mean, I've got a son now. That's the only reason I bought a house. To give him a stable place to live.
Wow.
Otherwise, probably a mattress on the floor with a desk over there is enough for me. I just don't need shit. It owns you. For me now, at my stage, I've realised, for me, my personality, if I own something, it starts off that way and eventually it owns me. Like my house, which I do own, before I came to this podcast, 3 texts. The garden's got a problem, this has got a problem, someone's knocked down one of the walls and it's like, I just don't care about any of this stuff.
Yeah.
It's taking my brain away from like more important stuff like fixing the education system.
Wow. That's crazy. I mean, that was a beautiful podcast. I'm just going to wrap up saying, what's your last message to the people watching?
The purpose of life is a life with purpose.
The purpose of life
is life with purpose.
Wow. The purpose of life is a life with purpose. All right, guys, that's been Simon Squibb. I hope you enjoyed the podcast. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you, man.
And if you guys want to check out his stuff, you want some free money, because I know he's giving out a lot of it. Like, we should just give out some money on this podcast.
Let's do it. Let's go into the streets and give some money.
Yeah, if you guys have a dream, comment down below. He just recently, you gave a Chinese girl, how much money did you give her?
Well, by the way, now we could go into a whole new podcast if we're not careful. You know that it's gonna be a whole new. We should do an extras.
Yeah,
you know? We should do an extras. It's a long story, that story.
Because I know you gave her money a few times.
Yeah, $50,000.
Is that total?
Well, what's important about this story? You have to go watch the YouTube video to fully. I think, but what's important is not the money, the knowledge.
Yeah.
And the support.
I'll leave the link, by the way. You guys can go watch this video. I'll leave it down below.
Yeah, watch the video. That's probably the best way to leave it. Otherwise,
he gave away a lot of money. You could be next. So if you subscribe, like, share, and go check out his pages, I'll leave everything down below. You could be that guy.
Or girl.
Or girl, yeah, or girl. I mean, you just did a girl, so it's just fair. A guy is next.
It could be either.
A guy should be next, you know? Come on.
Fair. All right, fair. That's fair.
All right, thank you, brother. I appreciate it.
Cheers, man.